Once again, I'm joined by the great, the living legend, the Sal Greco. Sal, how are you today?
Thanks for the introduction. A living legend, but yeah, I mean a lot has transpired since I have last spoken to you on your show. So it's quite an adventure, and quite some things that are disturbing, and other things I think this country really needs to search their souls over. So, but I also want to say that I see that you still have the same detractors trying to disparage you online, but they don't bring any facts or evidence. It's just based on feeling. So, I don't know if that's a good. I always say it's a good thing because you have haters that just won't stop, but it doesn't deny that you're giving your expert opinion and you're presenting evidence and presenting it as a fact. And it is a fact. I believe the evidence that you showed shows an anomaly that it definitely seems as on that fateful day, just a couple of weeks ago, where Charlie Kirk was unfortunately assassinated, there were drones on the ground. It seems to be a fact that, I mean, the government won't tell you anything, but your footage clearly shows it. So if anyone wants to be a hater over it, you shouldn't be hating on Jason. Watch the video. You could try to zoom in, and this is, this is Jason's thing. He knows video. He zooms in on it. I saw it. It looks like there's propellers on it because it's what drones do. It's a drone. I don't know who manned the drone, right? We don't know anything yet because we don't trust the government. Can't tell you the truth. Looks like there were drones on the ground, and Jason did an excellent job uncovering this.
Thank you, Sal. I'm having a little problem getting the internet on here so that we can look at some of that stuff. This might help it. Let's give this a shot here. There we go. I wanted to make sure that everybody knows that they can go to salgreco.com and support your work by tapping on the support tab here. Send some money to Sal. I didn't mean to distract you while you were complimenting me. Thank you very much for that. But
good work. Very good work.
Thank you. And it's interesting to discuss, Sal, from the standpoint of what were those things doing there? You mentioned drones, and a lot of people immediately, I tell you, it's crazy. I said, hey, wait a minute, this looks like a drone to me. And people are like, oh, so Israel did it? I was like, wait a minute, what the hell are you talking about? I'm just saying there's a drone there. The craziest thing that happened yesterday was we've got this guy, Blake, who is a self-admitted insurance salesman or something like that from Texas, who he told Redacted that he went through it with AI and that he found 16 drones. Well, first of all, this to me looks like a falcon descending. I spent a lot of time yesterday going through each one of the items that this guy identified, and I do not agree that he found drones. These each look like birds to me, or insects. I created a whole thread that people can look at JG_CSTT. Some of these things, Sal, I blew up 2,400%, but this is an eagle flapping its wings. Yeah. There's a lot of species of eagles that live year-round in Utah, bald eagles, golden eagles, and most of the things that he tracked were eagles. You can see they're very blurry at a distance. They just look like a dot, but you see wings flapping. This is not the way that UAVs and electronically operated drones work. Some of these things, most of them were eagles. This is clearly an eagle. You can see it. It's like soaring here in the background. And as it goes further away, I tell you what, Sal, this was a very interesting study because I've done a lot of stuff with motion graphics and visual effects and image processing and computer compression, but I've never really studied, as much as I have in the past week, tiny items flying around. Now, this thing first appears very high contrast when it's close to us, and as it goes toward the distance, there's atmospheric haze that it's flying into. So that gives us a cue that flying away from us in three-dimensional space, it becomes more difficult to see, and that's depicted in a two-dimensional image as becoming lower contrast. So that informs us to a greater extent of what we're looking at in other frames. This still looks like an eagle, but it's further away, more atmospheric haze, lower contrast. Here, another eagle. You can see there's parts of it that are white, maybe the head and the body, if it's a bald eagle and it's got a brown body and brown wings and a white head or a white belly or something. There's elements of it that look to be different colors. Then we've got, to me, what looks like a wasp, because you see it's closer. The body is shaped differently. It's contorting like the segmented body of an insect. The wings are flapping more frequently. The eagle seems to soar more. This thing required more magnification, but it's not as occluded by atmospheric haze. So that tells me it's a smaller item closer up. And we've learned a lot of things about everything we've been spotting. Now, the genius with the insurance sales, he thinks this is a drone flying out of a vent. I don't think so. I think this is a small insect close to the camera. And what this idiot doesn't realize is just because the first frame that it appears on camera is adjacent to what looks like a vent, that doesn't mean it's flying out of the vent. I tracked this image with software called Adobe After Effects. And I don't have it set up to show everybody how that works here on this live stream. But basically what it does is it gives me a point on every single position of this. And I can tell you that the distance from the edge of this frame to the first position of this insect is shorter than the distance between the first position and the second position. So what I'm suggesting is the previous position of this insect is just outside the view of the camera. So when you look at it through the lens of being an insurance salesman, it looks like it's flying out of the vent, but we don't actually even know if that is a vent. It's a feature on the building. It could be a vent. It could be a louver, but is it even horizontal such that something could fly out of it? We don't really know. So this idiot got amplified like crazy yesterday, and I think he was doing it. Let me back up for a second, Sal, because a lot of people will see this and think, oh, Jason's beefing because he's not going viral and somebody else is. That's not it at all, okay? You and I have known each other for close to a year. We're not like that. We're not on social media for clout. We're trying to do something. You've been wronged by the NYPD. You're trying to get a legal case straightened out. You're trying to show the corruption within Eric Adams' administration. You do a fantastic job, by the way. I want to remind everybody to follow you at the Sal Greco, follow you on social media, and watch all your shows. But just like you, I have a purpose here. And when some malicious social engineer comes along to try to diminish that purpose, I'm very curious as to why. So this is video footage that I identified prior to our buddy Blake coming along. And the reason why I think these are drones, I'll point out right now. First of all, we got one item that appears extremely fast moving, rigid body that shoots upward. So maybe it's a falcon, but I've seen falcons diving that move quickly with their wings folded back like that. I don't know that they can go upward with the wings folded back. But let's just look at this sequence again for a second, Sal, because the first thing that comes in is this. And it could be an eagle, but it's moving much differently than all those other eagles that we've seen. Again, it's soaring upward, and it's making a very geometrically circular orbit over the crowd, which suggests to me that it's a machine more than a bird. Now, we do see some activity around the outline of it that people might think is wing flapping, but as a video expert, I believe that is actually video compression. That's the area where the high contrast of this rigid body and the edge of the sky meet, and the technology that makes this video are having some artifacts around that. Now, this thing appears to emit smoke.
Yeah, but don't drones have, yeah, that does look like smoke. Drones also have at least 3 propellers.
Well,
think of a helicopter.
They could have 2.
They have two or 3, depends the model.
Right. And by the way, these could be classified. I'm not saying this is a DJI drone that you could go pick up at B&H Photo. This could be any type of technology that perhaps we haven't seen before. And, you know, there are some of these vertical takeoff drones with 2 propellers. Maybe it's like an airplane or a, you know, alternating rotation of the rotors, so that's one way, like a Chinook helicopter controls its attitude. I don't know. I'm just saying these are anomalies. I brought them up and my video started going viral, and then out of nowhere, this insurance salesman with 5,000 followers on X puts out a thing saying he found 16 drones, it gets 1 million views. I think Palmer Luckey, the billionaire co-founder of Palantir, was very upset that I was talking about drones. I think, as you pointed out, George Webb and his brother are very interested in smearing me at any chance that they get. They even put up weird stuff about our mutual friend, Roger Stone. And I don't know why they do that, but they seem very fixated on deflecting attention away from anything that I say that might have value. And this is an email that George Webb's brother sent around to the Department of Homeland Security saying that I'm a terrorist. This is George's brother here. He says, update on Jason Goodman, presumed domestic terrorist. He's sending a video where I'm explaining how electronic shutters on digital cameras work. He's sending a video of me talking with Roger Stone and Jerome Corsi, and he's just trying to make trouble.
Yeah. See, this is when you see some people that are, we talk about the mental health crisis in this country, mentally deranged people. That's where something like this would fall under. If someone could write a letter about you saying that, I could do the same about this person or whoever it is that wrote this letter. You take something out of context and say, look, domestic terrorists. All I've ever seen is that you question things, providing evidence and theories. And also you were an expert videographer. You know video just as good as anyone else does out there that actually, you spent many years producing things on video and we're on official movies. So you would know about these things. You're not saying, here it is, let's go arrest these people. All you're saying is, I see this anomaly. Here are these images. To me, this looks like a drone. It has a flight pattern of a drone. I don't see the issue with that. And the problem with the drone thing is that if his security team saw, listen, I know a thing or two, not only from being the NYPD 14 years, but now having to do private security, executive protection work. So Charlie Kirk his security is called executive protection. One of the things that team should have, especially since Charlie is a high-level figure, if he goes to an event like this where 3,000 people are supposed to show up, they should have a drone. I don't know why people aren't grilling this security team, because the failures here are so many that, I lost count. I was trying to do it with Owen Schroyer the other day. There's supposed to be a drone there. Now, the drone is there for the purpose of scanning the crowd and scanning rooftops. Apparently, nobody was doing this because apparently that's what happened, right? There was someone on the roof. We saw a video of that also, which you also pointed out. Guess that makes you a domestic terrorist. So when you see this on the screen and you start to challenge these things or challenge official narratives, that does not make you a domestic terrorist. That makes you an American citizen that's concerned. But by the way, your tax money goes to all these law enforcement agencies and all these investigations, everything you're seeing. You're asking questions of why they're not saying anything about, why aren't we asking these security guys what was going on that day? What's their protocols? We don't need to know how they run the company. We just need to know what happened that day and in the past. So I understand. I mean, I think Owen had said that Charlie liked to have, he didn't want his security overbearing or, on top of the crowds. But he is what they call the principal. You are, as a security company, you are tasked with one thing, his safety. And if anything were to occur, you need to jump into action to him. So you would have to veto him and tell him, no, 3,000 people are showing up. We have to do it this way. And I would expect someone on this team to have a drone flying, because that's how this goes. So if there was a drone and now we're seeing other footage, and I was very adamant about the crime scene, which I broke down with Owen Schroyer. I've never seen anything like that. And I know in the midst of chaos, people aren't going to do their job, but really there was an absolute failure in actually creating a crime scene, creating a perimeter for a crime scene, doing anything about the crime scene. Because later on we see not even 5 minutes in, Jason, somebody takes the camera down. We now have footage that the camera right? Somebody was finagling with the footage on the camera.
Well, let me ask you about that, Sal. Isn't that act in and of itself prosecutable? You can't go start taking evidence from an ongoing investigation. How come Cash Patel and the FBI, shouldn't that person, we've heard on X that whoever it is that's taking that works for Charlie Kirk. Okay, so maybe it wasn't something he's gonna get prosecuted for. Maybe it was just, hey, I thought I should take the footage. But aren't they gonna contact Turning Point and say, hey, where is that person? Let's talk to him. Give us that footage. We want to look at it and see if we see the shooter. We haven't heard anything about that. It's been more than a week.
No, I would definitely be searching any kind of footage that they have from any other camera that's HD in and around the tent or in that area is vital, because you need to see. You're going to have to, when you put on a court case, you're going to have to explain where this guy was shooting from, the direction, the gun, all this stuff has to come out in a court case. So this footage that you see them take out of the camera is vital to this investigation. So who's saying that he was shot from the back? Who's saying he was shot from the side? Also, where did this round go? You're saying there's a round here. And there it is. There's the culprit. And all of this, Jason, is because no one set up a crime scene, which in the NYPD would probably get you suspended. You might get terminated for I don't know what to call it, cowardice, whatever you want to call this, but no police officer there set up a crime scene. One person, at the very least, needs to stay behind and protect the crime scene. That's
so
just
hang on a
fact.
second. I don't think regular people, you just said something really important, Sal. I don't think regular people realize how big a deal this is. I mean, a lot of people have been talking about that guy taking that, but you're saying a police officer would be fired for this level of failure. We haven't heard Cash Patel or anybody, the governor, nobody's come on the TV and said, hey, wait a minute, we had a major failure, and where is this person? Where is this evidence? Why aren't they doing that?
Yeah, because they won't give you the details of how, what happened on the scene, because they're saying they're police officers there. We don't know what agency. We also don't know campus security itself, right? So the security team on the campus or the police, they have their own police agency. One person must stay behind. Someone there, they clearly train you that in an event like this, in a crime scene situation, you would have to have somebody stay back and be the person that sets this up and protects this crime scene. You have to protect the integrity of it. These are very important things that you're going to need to hear about later on in the trial. This round, what was the trajectory of this round? Where does this round land? Assuming it is a round, right? Where did it go? Because it goes somewhere, right? And the round they're telling you that this is, you see this footage online of what damage this round could do to someone. I think I saw something where it was an exit wound on someone's body. It blew open a hole that probably any closer would probably blow out. Like if it's in your elbow, your whole elbow's gone. So there's so many questions here, and they don't want to answer anything. And I stick to what I see and what could be factual. There was a failure by his security team. That is unequivocally a fact. They were not scanning for rooftops. They looked around. They're all lackadaisical. You know why? Because they got very, complacent. Oh, we do this 1,000 times. You never take it like that, And then the crime scene, the integrity of it was never, ever maintained. So the entire crime scene was corrupted. I saw people going in this tent, taking down the foot. Somebody was handing out hats. I mean, I don't even know how you
stealing hats.
Stealing hats, going in there. Look, someone just perished in front of your eyes, and the first thing to do is destroy the crime scene on top of it. I don't even know how you allow it. And this is the things in the New York State Police Department, you would be absolutely decimated as a police officer or supervisor for allowing it. And this is leading to the issues you're going to have with a court case as well. And believe me, that guy's defense attorney, he's thinking exactly like I am, because these are the only way you see holes in a case, as you know. Pick O.J. Simpson, right? What happened there? Procedural failures by the police department. That's why he got off. And that's what happened here too. We don't know why there was no crime scene. Why weren't they protecting the integrity of it? And the other thing too is, Jason, if you ever watch these crime scenes, you'll see that police officers put the tape which,
Yeah,
by the way, every officer should have in their vehicle, this crime scene tape, or on their person. I mean, I
because
did.
it's that much of a priority that if you witness a
Correct.
crime, you tape it off.
And when you're there, Jason, one of the first things they tell you when you're a police officer is, okay, no one's allowed on this crime scene short of my own personnel, right? No family, nothing like that. Only the personnel, only a high supervisor could come by and tell you, all right, kid, we got to do this or that. Or you're going to have crime scene has their own investigations, right? We have
Right.
people got to take DNA swabs. So you have to write down or put on your cell phone, wherever it is, the name of the person, the agency, who they represent. None of that occurred here. So we don't even know who went into the crime scene. And that is a problem. And this are the kind of stuff on technicalities that these people that are so-called defendants or so-called murderers or suspects, that's how they get off. These are simple things that how people get away with crimes. And the fact that everybody was in La La Land, okay, during this whole process, except the people that were walking by and doing whatever they wanted, you just ruined the crime scene and potentially destroyed any case you have. So congratulations to everybody that allowed that to happen.
Really amazing. You know, I want to also remind everybody, Sal, they can follow you and your podcast, New York's Finest Unfiltered. You're on there all the time. Tell people where they can see all your different social media channels and all your shows.
Oh, sure. So The Finest Unfiltered on YouTube, this is where you could watch it live. It's at The Finest Unfiltered. We have a network. You look, there it is. There was my show yesterday, The Kangaroo Court. I'm on live on Tuesdays and Thursdays, starting at 1:05 p.m. You could also catch it on X, on my X channel, on at the Sal Greco. It's always streaming live. Also, I have a Rumble channel. It's on the Sal Greco Show. Also, you're going to find this one funny, Jason. So I open up a TikTok for the show at the Sal Greco Show on TikTok.
Blocked immediately.
And recently I put up a video. I had Owen Schroyer on as a guest. They took it down and said that Owen Schroyer is an extremely violent human being. They said violent extremists, do not put hashtag Owen Schroyer. They will try to ban you on TikTok. You get warned. Yeah.
Is that because of January 6th that they said that? They just have a blanket?
I have no idea. They call him a violent extremist. I have warnings. I have pictures of it. And all it was, Jason, is a video. And you could see this on my personal YouTube channel, on the Sal Greco Show segments on YouTube, which the same kind of videos I put up on TikTok, I put up over there. Also on the Sal Greco Show on Instagram. But on YouTube, I put up the video of Owen Schroyer. There was no issues. It's Owen Schroyer talking to me about... we were talking about the state of MAGA. There was no violent extremist rhetoric there. It's him. And I told him about this. So he told me he has problems with TikTok, and now I know why. They have it out for Owen himself. So it's Owen terrible. Is not allowed to have anything to do with TikTok, apparently. Or you got to be careful how you mention his name, or they'll ban you. So that's something I learned in the last 2 weeks.
Man, I tell you, it's a rough game. You know, Owen, I wish him well. I know he recently left InfoWars, and I feel badly about that. I don't want to get into that. I've known Owen for like 8 years. I've never seen him be violent or extreme. He's actually a pretty calm guy.
I know. I don't get it. I don't, here's another thing too. If he questions narratives and people don't like it, or you don't like, some of the things he says, then you don't need to watch him. But to label him a violent extremist, he's one of the nicest guys I know. I mean, I know Owen, and I'm like, this guy went to prison for nothing just because they want to make. Okay, so he was on the grass apparently that day on January 6th. Therefore, you violated this court order from a year ago. We told you to stay away, but he wasn't even doing anything. So that it's all technicalities of what they did to him and put him in prison. And not to comment any further, but that changes a man and how he was treated. And I saw Alex Jones, and I know Alex Jones too. I respect him, but what happened is not trying to get in the middle of anything, but just think of someone who's been through hell and actually went to prison, and how their mentality and their mind is going to change before, during, and after this process. So it's unfortunate what happened there, but I find it bizarre that TikTok calls him a violent extremist, And the video has absolutely nothing to do with anything like that. Could it be because he criticizes certain entities? Who knows? I didn't know that TikTok was like that, but apparently hashtag Owen Schroyer will get you either ban or strike on your account, and they'll start looking at you. So be careful and mindful if you do that.
Wow. Yeah, no, I think I know what you're talking about. Well, so let me take you to this topic for a moment, Sal, because I think a lot of people saw last night there was this kind of, let's call it impromptu, although I'm being generous, protest in Times Square. This was crazy to me because, all right, look, everybody's got the First Amendment right to freedom of speech. If Jimmy Kimmel wants to be a jerk and insult a dead guy whose wife is still grieving, whose infant children are never going to know their father, he wants to make a callous joke and say something that's just factually incorrect. If that upsets the people who pay him, they have the right to fire him. And certainly people have the right to get together in Times Square or whatever and have a protest. But how does this work out? I mean, we've got this guy, Joel Mottola, who seems to show up everywhere with our friend. He's got much better teeth than our friend, the Muppet, who's got to, concentrate on not being such a villain and maybe fix his teeth or brush them or whatever. But this guy always shows up with troublemakers. I'm talking about Oren Levi. I'm talking about Uniska Wahala-Kano, Crackhead Barney. These protests, don't they know when... you got old ladies in the park down at City Hall Park back in 2020 when COVID was happening, who literally were with walkers and wheelchairs standing there with signs. The cops came in with that backpack loudspeaker telling everybody to go home, riot gear, kicked everybody out. But yet, they escort around. This thing was screaming and yelling about pissing on Charlie's grave. I mean, don't they know when something is likely to erupt into a fight and say, hey, wait a minute, you guys, you can't do this? Why did they allow this?
The question here is if these people, did they have a permit? If you have a permit, they'll allow it for whatever the time period is. I don't know if you can get a permit to do this in Times Square. I don't think you're allowed to keep walking because that's a lot of work. I saw that they were actually following these people. There's pop-up protests, but at the same time, you could easily go up to the organizer and go, listen, you got to go to whatever it is at one spot and just stay there, but this roving stuff is not going to work. But again, was anything destroyed? I don't know what happened last night. I saw a lot of video of horrendous rhetoric, but this is like every night. I mean, you cover this.
Doesn't it at some point become an incitement? I mean, it's one thing if they stand there and they want to espouse their views, but walking around insulting somebody in a volatile moment, I'm not trying to censor speech, but as you're saying, it's like, hey, if you guys want to do this, it's got to be here in this park, in this square. Nobody can start walking down here. You guys got to all stay here with your signs and giving your speeches and yelling, and the cops are going to contain it. But as you just said, I see them marching all over, almost like they have a route planned, and I specifically see this Joel Mottola. I want to show you a bit of footage, Sal, this goes back to the drone thing, because again, I'm not just like, oh, Joel Mottola, I don't like him. I first saw this guy like years ago with Oren Levi, before I knew really who either of them were. And there's been a series of things that have happened that have caused me to wonder, like, what the hell is going on? Why are they allowing this to happen? And it's actually given me some insight into something. So I was in Washington Square Park. This is it right here. Let me show you this. I was in Washington Square Park maybe a week ago, and there was this guy. His name is I See Speed or something like that. I Show Speed. He's another, YouTube, social media. I mean, God bless him. The guy's got millions of viewers on social media. So I'm just doing my thing, walking around, talking about my different ideas of whatever is going on. And I approach the park. I see there's something happening. And just let's watch this interaction for a second.
Yeah.
Something wrong?
That's in the park, so his fans are all here.
Wow. So that YouTuber gets all these police? That's amazing. Nice hat.
Thank you.
Is that standard issue? So see, it's weird what they do with all these police, and nobody says anything. That
guy with the hat. Hold on, I know who that guy in the hat is. He's a deviant. That guy's been sued for sexual harassment.
Wow. See,
yeah, he's one of the leftovers from the Madrid crew. He's a civilian, actually.
Really? And look, we got people breaking the law right here, riding bicycles. The cops aren't saying, hey, you can't do that. They could be controlling this crowd. See, that was a question that I had. Aren't there certain, uniform requirements? Like this guy, he's got an NYPD shirt on, but that hat doesn't look like an NYPD thing.
I am gonna remember this guy's name. He's in a couple of, that guy with the hat. I recognize him immediately. I forgot. I'm gonna get his name.
Okay, well, we'll keep looking, because there's a lot of stuff in here that I want you to take a look at. I mean, basically what happens is I enter the park, all these hooligans, look at all these cops we have here, Sal. This is quite a presence. I mean, it's almost like you got a center. Look at this. How much overtime is going on here? And all these cops, we got an electric bike in the park. It's practically a motorcycle. You're not allowed to do this. Skateboarding here.
I'm going to tell you who he is. Who you saw is the NYPD community coordinator, Brian Adams. You could look at his name. He is, I don't know, he's another buffoon close to Madry and Kaz Dodry. He's been named in sexual harassment lawsuits. He's cost the city some money. He used to work for the Daily News as well. But you just saw him, which is not an easy feat to see out there, since he's not a cop. He's a civilian, but he is very close to the top people in community affairs. Now, I could tell you, this guy came there, more than likely, the police being there, they have a permit to be there, which is why she said,
No, I'm sure he does.
Got a permit.
This guy's got millions of viewers. I'm sure he set this all up as if you would a film shoot or something like that. And I'm sure he's paying the police something, right? You don't just get all this police presence for free, do you?
So the police have to do a detail there. So what they do is community affairs, and whoever the precincts are, it could be, a multi-precinct action, or it could be just
precinct
one.
Covers Washington Square Park.
So the 6th precinct would have to cover this, and they might send in enforcements, have extra bodies there. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of people here, so you're going to have cops outside.
So have a look at what's happening here. I enter the crowd. I want you to observe this for a second.
Yeah. This might be
Who are you?
Security.
Don't put your hands on me.
He's here, we're here.
Sorry, that guy grabbed me. And
security for what? You just look like a guy who just assaulted me.
He physically grabbed me and pulled me back.
Fucking asshole.
So then I go over to another guy who you may recognize. I don't know who he is, but here.
So they've got cops over here and random assholes assaulting people? What is this about? Are you with the cops? I don't care. You're in public. You got people over here saying there's security assaulting me, cops all around the park, people riding skateboards. What the fuck are the cops doing here? Because they're not enforcing the law.
Are you injured?
Huh?
Are you injured?
I'm not injured. I asked you a question. What are you guys doing here? You're not enforcing the law.
We're here for this event that's happening right now.
Well, you're doing a very ineffective job because there's people in there claiming to be security committing assault, and you're standing here yakking it up doing nothing.
Watch this now. Watch by the left side of the arch. There's a guy who's going to approach me in an orange shirt.
I don't give
Watch.
a fuck.
You know, Vaz, we outside with the unkempt.
Okay, so that Scooby-Doo, shaggy-looking dope comes up to me and says, all right, Vaz, don't be outside with the camera or some kind of patois nonsense. And then the live stream cut out, Sal. Now, as you kindly said moments ago, I have an unusually large amount of experience in digital production, technology. I do this all the time, and this is a location that I'm in frequently. Just observe this guy. He's walking out from where that stupid guy with the hat was and all those lieutenants and all those cops, and I was just yelling at that executive guy. This kid is looking at his phone. He's looking at me. He's looking at the phone. He's looking at me. He says his stupid shit, and then the live stream cuts. And it cut in such a way that was unusual. And I say that because you've done these walk and talks with me. I've got a phone strapped to my wrist that controls the broadcast, and then I've got another phone on a stabilizer that's our camera. And luckily, I just happened to be looking at the control module when that kid walked up, and the screen went black as if the phone was put to sleep. And what that does is it causes the application to terminate unexpectedly. When I went and interrogated the diagnostic log in my cell phone, it said that that application was killed. So that means somebody outside the application deliberately stopped it. So I got pissed off and I immediately restarted my recording, and then this happened. Watch this.
Where'd that fucking guy go?
Whoops.
Content. Don't be like this.
What's in this guy's backpack?
Probably food.
Probably not, Matola. Probably something that shut off my live.
I want you to see that again.
left.
That's Joel Matola. And this kid, what is he doing? He was just over hundreds of feet away from there. Why is he back hanging out with the cops? Why is he so focused on me? Let's just watch this again.
Where'd that fucking guy go?
Content. Don't be like this.
What's in this guy's backpack?
Probably food.
Probably not, Matola. Probably something that shut off.
Why does he find that so funny, Sal? It's almost as if he knows what's in the guy's backpack.
I think this guy just takes joy in because he doesn't like you. His body language.
But why would he
is,
presume that there's food? And wait, let's look at the backpack for a second. Let's use your police detective skills. That's a heavy backpack. Look at how tightly it's strapped to his shoulders and it's weighing down. That doesn't have his gym clothes and his lunch in it. I think it might have some heavy electronic equipment in it.
It could be electronics. It could be something in it. It looks like it's tight on him, meaning it's got some weight to it, we'll say.
Not only, right, exactly. Not only tight, it's got some weight to it. I want to show you something else that I don't presume you've seen before. Maybe you have, I don't know. But this is an IT security company called Oligo Security, and they published this April 29th, 2025. There's been an iOS update 2 or 3 days ago. This incident occurred 2 or 3 weeks ago. But this is talking about a wormable zero-click remote code execution exploit in Apple's AirPlay protocol. So this is the Bluetooth stack in iOS devices, the iPhone that I use, iPads, anything that connects to any of those devices is susceptible to being exploited through a zero-click exploit, meaning I don't have to go to a website or click on a phishing email or get roped into, some fake email that looks like it's coming from a friend of mine or something like that. Yeah, and it's remote code. So that means it can, from over the air, if you are in Bluetooth proximity, which is as much as I think 800 feet, which that kid was way closer. This is a Bluetooth low energy thing. So even those Apple AirTags, something with very little battery power, can do this. They've dubbed this airborne, and what it does is it overwhelms the phone with Bluetooth requests and can cause it to crash. It can cause all kinds of unexpected behavior. I don't think you knew about that before, did you? What do you think about it now?
Essentially, what that is like I don't know if you watched the Dark Knight with was in the Dark Knight trilogy with Batman. Yeah. Remember when Christian Bale, who's Bruce Wayne, gets out of the car and he's coming out for the first time after 8 years? He's been a recluse. All the cameras go on. He presses a button and it knocks out all the cameras, all the electronics gone. And you're like, oh, and they can't use it. So you're saying is they finally have come out with a way to stop your electronics in the close proximity, not like, a whole city.
Yeah.
Just enough to damage your signal so it knocks you out. That's what this kind of sounds like.
To be clear, it didn't take out the radio signal broadcasting the live stream. It just disrupted the phone with a Bluetooth low energy attack. See, if if it were, people watching this will say, oh, Jason doesn't know what he's talking about because an IMSI catcher or a Stingray, that requires a huge battery and a radio transmitter. It's got to be, the backpack could contain that, but I don't think that's what he used because that wouldn't have necessarily crashed the phone. That could have hijacked the signal and stopped the live stream, but I would not have necessarily noticed that. That would intercept my cell phone signal, and instead of going to a cell tower and then the internet, it would stop in that kid's backpack and I would not go to YouTube. But I'd get home and say, oh, what the hell happened? The live stream ended. That's not what happened. This guy's using a low power, Bluetooth low energy attack to just overwhelm the phone and cause it to crash. It's a new type of attack. I allege, I haven't proven this in court, but there's a lot of circumstantial evidence there that suggests that what I'm saying at least could be correct, don't you think?
Yeah, and also the way he kind of like picked you out of the crowd. That guy came at you
after I argued. Look at this executive guy. He's smiling that I've just been stymied by Scooby-Doo's buddy there, right? They're like, ha ha ha, we got Goodman. He's a persistent pain in the ass. So look at that face on these schmucks. And when he says, oh, it's probably his lunch, why is he so quick to defend this guy?
Yeah,
how does he know who he is?
Mottola not wearing a gun, not wearing his vest, not wearing a lot of stuff. That's out of uniform, buddy.
Well, let's watch the rest of this for a second. There's more stuff Mottola does.
Probably not, Mottola. Probably something that shut off my live stream. You don't have an IMSI.
Oh,
what
did
are you
it?
fucking smiling at, Joel, you fucking asshole?
Joel, what are you sucking bad?
This guy's here telling me, why don't you suck my dick? And the cops are standing around. He's pursuing me. Watch this.
The police laughing.
Joel, what are you sucking mad?
Get this fucking guy away from me. He's chasing me. Back the fuck up, asshole. Excuse me. Tell this fucking guy to get out of here.
He's filming you as you are filming him.
Yeah.
No, he's not filming me. He's pursuing me. This is civil assault. He's coming at me. He's making me think I'm going to get injured, or at least putting me in reasonable fear of that. Why is Mottola defending this kid?
Approached me, and this whole thing turned off.
The crowd's on the move here, Jason.
Oh, the crowd is on the move.
How does he know my name, Sal? They're monitoring me. We've only encountered each other in the streets, and I never introduced myself to him.
I could tell you, Tony is out of uniform right now because he has no bulletproof vest on. He also doesn't have his gun belt on. Even in community affairs, you can't go out like that. You have to go out. You have to have your vest on. You have to have your shirt over it, and you have your gun belt on. He's in an administrative outfit, even though he's in doing what we call "quote unquote" patrol. So Mottola's actually out of uniform. That could be a command discipline right there.
Who's this guy?
This guy. I'm looking at his. That looks like a chief. His pin. He works for a chief's office.
I think he's the head of community affairs in the 6th precinct. I think I've seen him before.
Okay, well, because I saw the pin. He represents.
This guy's undercover, following me. You see this guy? He's an officer too.
Someone there should try to keep the peace between you two instead of. I don't
inciting
know why
that
someone should have separated you and him, saying, "All right, Jason, you go here, and that other dude go to the other spot." But first thing I see glaringly is Mottola's out of uniform.
Something else interesting. Look, there he is in the high visibility orange. He doesn't care about me anymore. He's not an antagonistic 20-year-old schmuck chasing me all over the park. He's off to whatever his next task is. He's just walking away from me. You see that? Still looking at the phone. No longer seems to care about me. And that reminds me, there's one other very suspicious thing that this stupid asshole did. Let me show you this. So here he is from the first video. Okay. And what's interesting is when I first enter the park, I meant to show you this. Watch this. So
you always get good footage. I tell you that. You do. Everything always happens around you.
Well, because they think that nobody's watching this stuff, and I don't know what these different guys are doing. This is why I like to review this material with you, because we learn a lot about what the NYPD is doing.
This guy, Brian Adams, should have been terminated a long time ago. I don't know why he's still on the job.
Watch the left side of the screen as I walk into the park. This kid who becomes so interested in me after I argue with the community affairs executive, he's going to walk right past me. There he is on the left with his high vis orange. He's looking right at his phone, looks right at me. He doesn't care. Why is he so interested in me after my argument with Mottola and his buddy?
He definitely had eyes on you. I don't know. I don't know if he's part of, if he's like an Oren Levy type.
Yes.
Who's like a bloodsucker around these people. Or
no, I think he's an operative.
He's
got a lot of water in the backpack. He's got two waters.
Does he work for this guy who set this up? You know?
I don't think so. Why would that guy care about me or talking to the police? He's got his thugs who just grab me and say, back up. That's that guy's security. I seek speed or I see speed, whatever his name is. He's got his buddies who are, this guy, I see speed or I show speed. He's some kind of acrobat or something. He's super worked out and he does flips and he runs and everything. And that looks like what all his buddies are. That guy who grabbed me, some 20-year-old kid, he could have put me in the hospital, obviously, and he's just like, back up, and grabs me and pulls me out of the crowd. Why are the police allowing 20-year-old thugs to be quote-unquote security? That whole scene over there is an absolute mess, Sal.
Yeah, New York City is always a place that you have like every known crivet, every weirdo, everything you could think of happens in this small little island in Manhattan. Because it's really small compared to the rest of the United States. But anything and everything is going on there 24/7. It's unfortunate you got to deal with these people, but it's a shame because if I was with you, I would have said, hey, Tommy, whatever his Mottola, what's his name?
Joel
Mottola, hey, Sergeant, where's your bulletproof vest? Where's your gun belt? Aren't you out of uniform? You're walking around like you're in the administrative role when you're out on patrol. That's one of the things that I would glaringly tell him in his face, like, don't you know better? And then that guy, Brian Adams, why is he still employed by the NYPD? By the way, he's a con sofrito guy. He loves the mob associate, the self-admitted criminal, Jimmy Rodriguez. A lot of questions there with that guy. Yet he still has a job. And he's involved in multiple sexual harassment cases as well. It's funny that you spotted this guy. Put up his name, NYPD coordinator Brian Adams. You'll see his wonderful history. And he's in a case right now with Dana Ratchlin. Sexual harassment. He was one of the guys that was in the middle of John Schell and Kaz Dodger. John Schell is now the chief of department, and Kaz Dodger, who's now the deputy mayor of public safety, and also the chief of department, Jeffrey Madry, at that time. That's who you encountered. You encountered Brian Adams.
Wow. Forced out of job.
Yep.
It says.
He was sued. He's been sued a couple of times. He worked for the New York Daily News. Right there. NYPD officials orchestrated smear campaign. That's the lawsuit he's in right now. He's a disgusting human being. I don't know why they continue to employ this guy. It's like he's protected. He's a civilian. It's easier to terminate a civilian than it is a cop. Look at all the people involved. There's Dana Ratchlin, who was completely victimized by the New York City Police Department. And you see
Madry on the left.
Right? Madry to the left or her right, and to the right of the screen, the infamous police commissioner, Ed Caban, very chummy friends of the self-admitted criminal mob associate. And his brother owned Con Sofrito. That's Eddie Caban. And these guys are up
to no good all over the place.
Yeah, Brian Adams is up to no. Once you see him, you're in, look out. I would start asking a lot of questions.
Wow.
You'll see him. He wears that stupid hat. First of all, he shouldn't be wearing that hat. First of all, you in the NYPD, you want to be a civilian, whatever your role is, you have to be in uniform. In uniform, where does it say you get to wear one of those hats? You get to wear a fedora while everyone else has to wear the regular 8-point hat or a baseball cap. You're in community affairs, right? He's out of uniform. Mottola's out of uniform. These are easy things I could point out and just go to town on them.
So let me ask you this, because it says that Mottola is Community Affairs Section Sergeant Special Assignment at Patrol Borough, Manhattan South, Community Affairs Section.
Yeah, he works for Manhattan South. They have a Community Affairs Bureau, and each borough. So Manhattan North, Manhattan South, Brooklyn North. Every borough has their own community affairs unit. He is in the Brooklyn South one.
Manhattan
That's why you
South.
see him. Manhattan South. I'm sorry, Manhattan South. So you see him a lot in Manhattan South protests because
I
he's
see
part
him
of the
all
community.
over the place. Where do they start south? Below Central Park?
Yes, Manhattan South is below Central Park. So Manhattan South
Should be
starts, I
below
believe,
34th.
after 44th or 50th Street. I don't remember. I remember because when I had arrest, I had to
maybe
classify
42nd, probably below 42nd, and then 42nd to the tip of Central Park is maybe Midtown to them, and then above that is North.
His role would be community affairs, Manhattan South. He runs around with community affairs, and if there's a protest, an event, you should see him there. The only difference is he needs to stay in uniform because you're not special. You have to maintain the uniformity everyone else does. You can't show up in that. That's an administrative look. If you see him running around in the precinct, he would be dressed like this because he's not going outside. The minute you go outside, you need to be in uniform, which shows where is his gun belt. Like, everyone just does whatever the hell they want in Jessica Tisch's New York City Police Department / Eric Adams' mayoralty, where, corruption is just, that's part of the game. Corruption is the number one thing you got to do. If you're not corrupt, you won't survive in it. But he's out of uniform. I know he's laughing and smiling. I don't know the guy, but he's got that smug look on him. Be a professional, brother. I wore that uniform. I was never unprofessional. That's why I never had any complaints, unlike these guys.
He's got 9
be professional. Yeah.
Or 11.
You could add one. You could easily add one. You could easily show them this video. You know who Brian Adams is, and you know who Mottola is, and they're both out of uniform.
Yeah,
Brian Adams, who's involved in he's in a current sexual harassment lawsuit right now, and that guy shouldn't even be working. I'm sorry. He's been in so many cases. He's got a checkered past. That's an easy fix for the New York City Police Department. They keep him there. And then you have Mottola, who's out of uniform. You want to laugh and be smug? At least follow the rules, guy. That's all I'm saying. I mean, we all had to follow the rules when we worked.
Right.
Funny, Oren Levy wasn't there, huh?
Yeah, well, I didn't see him there. No, he must be up to something else. I want to take you back to the Charlie Kirk murder for a second, because what we've been talking about, I think, now becomes relevant over there. So again, for the audience, for anybody listening, I want to reiterate, I haven't proven that this guy used a Bluetooth low energy exploit to shut off my live stream, but it's definitionally coincidental that he walked up to me looking at his phone, and my phone at that instant behaved very strangely, and the live stream ended. I've checked a diagnostic log that says that the application I was running, the live streaming software, the process was killed. Someone deliberately shut it off. So I don't know if you've had a chance to see this video from a guy named Adam Bartholomew. He's got a YouTube channel, Life is Driving. He was at the Charlie Kirk event, and he was live streaming. Now, his video is 1 hour. He's posted it elsewhere. It's 1 hour and 9 minutes, but this is the original. See, it says streamed 8 days ago. This was his live stream. And so he was there on campus at Utah Valley University, live streaming for 20 some odd minutes. He's talking to these kids here. Let's listen to this for a second. Oh, wait, I got YouTube muted.
So before we had a flag and we had...
So he said, before we had a flag, did you see that, Sal? Listen.
I heard something.
It's too crowded.
It's just, there's just so much. So
Before we had a flag and we had...
Did you see the picture break up there?
Yeah.
This kid says, before we had a flag, and then the picture breaks up and everybody runs and screams and says he just got shot, and an Adams live stream cut. So the live stream failed to get the actual shot itself. Additionally, Adam was using a setup. It's different brand than what I use, but similar in concept in that he's got multiple input devices, and then he's using an iPad, I use a phone, but he's got multiple input cameras and other devices, and then he's switching from a main one. And his cameras each have their own SD memory card in them. And normally he's live streaming and recording so that he can later pull high quality clips from the SD card because it looks much better than the live stream. The SD card failed to record. The only reason he got audio and continuous video at the Charlie Kirk assassination after that moment where it cut is because he separately had a USB wire going to his iPad, recording a separate video on the iPad. So I allege that these drones flying around were engaging in electronic warfare and using a similar type of Bluetooth low energy exploit to shut down live streams, because we've got somebody taking memory cards out of cameras on the ground. We've got limited footage coming out from the site. We haven't seen surveillance footage from campus police. We haven't seen 5 minutes of footage from that FBI surveillance camera. We just see a guy running on the roof. It's been a very controlled release of media surrounding this Charlie Kirk murder. And I just find it, again, extremely coincidental that the one person who wasn't part of that controlled mechanism has his recording cut right before the shooting.
Apparently also, there's now footage of, they paved everything over now. Apparently they wanted to just, get rid of the whole thing. There's some kind of a trap door underneath that concrete. That's another thing. And I think they're trying to put the footage of this guy rummaging through the camera to see if he was standing over this hole. It's clearly a trap door underneath a sidewalk, which I've never seen before in my life. So,
well, couldn't it be drainage access? I mean, I agree that's interesting, but I don't know how that plays into the murder or the destruction of evidence. It's not like they took Charlie Kirk out through a trap door, right?
Not Charlie. I wouldn't be with Charlie, but it's evidence. Where could things have gone? Around.
Yes, I agree.
The round is missing. Rounds ricochet. It's very important to remember this. Any shooter out there would know, anyone who's a gun aficionado. Rounds have to hit something, and they also deflect. They go through things, and then they hit something, and then they either stay with that object they hit or they bounce around. They don't just and if they disintegrated, like you see them all like smashed, like when a round hits something and smashed, there would be fragments somewhere. Right. Now, because that scene was contaminated, you'll never have this, is the problem. It's almost like a perfect crime. And for the conspiracy theorists out there that want to say it's a whole nation that was behind it, or you have to think, who has the means and the motive to do this? I don't know if some scrawny kid that like nobody even knows who he is, that now I'm seeing footage, might have been eating somewhere just like an hour or two after this.
Right.
Okay. He was at a Dairy Queen. Who has the means and the motives to do this? And this is where I start to circle and look at his security team. And I start to wonder what was going on in his own organization. Because the way this guy vehemently takes the camera, looks for the footage, right? He's grabbing all the footage out of the camera. And then we have this security team that you have to be blind. Like, one of the things out of the 4 or 5 guys he has, one of the jobs you would have is to stand there and watch the roofs. That's the easiest thing to do. You are to look up. If you see anything, you immediately either tell a police officer, jump into action, grab Charlie, whatever it is, because that's what executive protection work was supposed to do. That didn't happen. So this might have been a build-up or a setup to something that they were trying to do for a while, and then they finally, pulled it off here. I'm not trying to go down a conspiracy hole, but I know a lot of people want to finger on who did what, why. They even blamed an entire country. We had a prime minister of a whole country say, we didn't murder this guy. I've never seen anything like this. Yeah. And even putting himself into that reminds me of Trump with the Epstein files. These are self-inflicted wounds, and I don't know if they're media starved, like they want this attention and interject themselves into things. I got to be honest, and listen, I have a lot to say about governments. I have a lot of speculation, and I don't trust many governments, but I don't think Israel had anything to do. That is, you have to prove these things. Now, I don't know what went on behind the scenes, but this is starting, to me, just from what I could see. Now, I'm not trying to be like a speculation, but if I was working this case, I would look at the inside team that was there and what went on in the organization itself. Because I'm seeing failures from, one, the security team, 2, these questionable guys that apparently work for them, ripping cameras down. That's not what you're supposed to do. Did they tell them to do it? I mean, I don't know. These are things that no one's asking these questions because We had a complete failure by the police on the scene that did not put a crime scene, did not even start one. There was no perimeter. It was just bedlam. Everyone do what they want. And unfortunately now this is all now going to be left to speculation and left to history of how we perceive this. But again, I think if I'm investigating this case or the aftermath, I would begin to look at the inner circle of who was there, who would have known about this event, who planned it, who coordinated this stuff, who did they speak to as far as Turning Point USA, because none of this is making sense. And to start thinking that it's another country when the answers are right in front of you, literally on camera. Take a good look and start to look at it from that lens and go, why are his own people taking footage? Yeah. Why is this security
trampling the crime scene?
Yeah, the entire crime scene's contaminated. They're letting people just walk in and out of this place, and nobody has any answers. Now, they might be speaking to the FBI, but to my knowledge, what we know publicly, we don't see anything. So that's why I question everything, because
I agree.
I was in a police department in my time where things were pretty professional. We came out with, we had a crime scene. We came out with details and facts, and we wouldn't tell you things that we were looking for a suspect. We wouldn't tell you everything because we don't want the suspect to know if we're going to come after him and get him or not. But then when that happened, we released all the info. Here, it's just, you're like, so this guy ran around, he had a rifle. He can't even, if he had that backpack, you saw the video break down that rifle they're saying that it doesn't even fit in a backpack. Some guy did it online. He broke down this thing, took like minutes.
Yeah.
You'd have to actually use an Allen key and unscrew this thing and then break it apart and stick it in your backpack, which would stick out. And you didn't see that on the footage of by the way, the campus just put new cameras, spent a ton of money, kind of like the NYPD with the drones, spent all this money on this footage, and yet you only see this one camera showing a guy running around. There's cameras everywhere on this place.
Unbelievable.
If you see this, right, show me he's running. Where is this gun?
Exactly.
The gun would be sticking out.
And
right
would
now
you jump off a roof with a gun? I mean, isn't that, you're going to get hurt?
No, the gun, you would see it
drop the gun,
out.
Then jump.
Yeah. And there's a guy walking right there to the left. None of this makes sense. By the way, I would probably break your leg.
That's what I'm saying. How is the guy not injured jumping off the roof?
But the fact that the backpack alone would show at least 3 long pieces of something on camera, right. You can't tell up close, you'll see, would be sticking out because someone actually broke down this gun, which takes minutes to do. It takes a while. You can't just do this. It's not like Snap. We take this and it's like a cartoon. It's not a movie. You need an Allen key. It takes a long time. And you just shot someone. Your adrenaline is going to go.
Nervous, right? The guy.
You're not going to be able to do this. You're not even going to be thinking, which is why none of this is making sense. And in my line of business, the first people I would actually, unfortunately, have to go through is the inner circle. Right now, that's where I would land with who I think may know a lot more than they're letting on. And I don't know if they're even doing that. This is going to be something that goes, that's like Butler. And the reason we have questions as a society, Butler, PA, we have no answers still. None. You went through that one too. So,
Sal, I got to thank you for coming on. It's always so good when we get your insights on this stuff because you approach this like a cop, like an investigator, no bias. If we had evidence that this person or that person did it, I mean, you're just saying, this is the way to do the investigation. You go to the first person who we have evidence of, why did you do that? And ask them, why did you do that?
Yeah,
so I want to remind
you. Look, if we're going to say it's another nation, right? Because I know that there's a lot of these rumors. You have to understand sometimes that other people get involved because one, either, interjecting themselves in a conversation can either help them or help the accomplice, or they just want to be like, hey, look at us. We want to interject in the conversation so we get a little media hype on ourselves because that's what you call the distraction. Like the sidebar.
Oh, right. The people who are saying that, you mean, it draws a lot of attention. No, that's a fair point. I mean, by the way, we should say any government could or could not be involved. It's just to decide that that's the answer and then go looking for evidence that proves that is the opposite of the way an investigation
Jason,
is supposed to happen.
You even as a novice, not being in law enforcement ever, does Israel have the means and the motive? Think about it long and hard.
I don't know who has the motive.
Well,
I mean,
because this
money.
is what they're saying, right? This ridiculous theory. Does Israel have the means and the motives to take this guy out? Is he like some kind of worldwide threat to an entire nation of people?
I don't think so.
No, because he's not even a government official.
But they could also anticipate that doing that, if they got caught, would be negative. I mean, again, I don't want to go too far down this road. Let's let everybody who wants to investigate that. I'm focused on investigating video evidence of the drones.
I just want we'll put this though, I want people's eyes to stay squarely focused on what's in front of them and not noise. I think that was noise. Just like Trump with the whole Epstein thing, he gets a self-inflicted wound he caused on himself and his administration when he could have just said the bare minimum and keep it civil, keep it quiet. He didn't do that either. So look, I'm not the biggest fan of Bibi Netanyahu, but to blame an entire nation, I would stick solely to what the facts are. And right now, doing this, which is what you need to do, I would look around that little inner circle that Charlie had on that day, and also the security team, and why the hell everyone was walking in and out of a crime scene. Those things are glaring right in front of your face and has nothing to do. I didn't see a government sitting inside the tent with him. So,
and isn't it correct, Sal, that when you start investigating that, it will lead to the next questions? That's how the investigation goes. You investigate the most obvious thing in front of you, and then it leads to the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Not start with a presumption and investigate only that.
Correct. Means and motive, Jason. That's the name of the game. Who has the means and motives to pull this off? And if you really, some kid from Discord that nobody even knows that, and you're seeing this thing, it's like a coerced statement from him and this transgender guy that he's allegedly
in the pajamas.
What is this? A movie script? I mean, really, means and motive, Jason. That's the name of the game. If you start digging for means and motives, that's when you start hitting the right track.
Yeah. Well, Sal, I want to thank you for coming on the show. It is always interesting and enjoyable to speak with you. People can visit salgreco.com, and you can support Sal by tapping on the support tab and sending him some money. Help keep independent journalism and independent podcasting going. You can also follow Sal on X and on YouTube. Give us all the links one more time, Sal, before we go.
There you go. So you could catch me on the Finest Unfiltered YouTube on Tuesdays and Thursdays live at 105. We also have a couple other shows there. You know, you could catch up on a lot of information regarding New York City and NYPD, everything going on in politics or culture, even sports. I talk about sports. Also, on X at the Sal Greco show, streaming live there at 105 Tuesdays and Thursdays. And also could follow me on Instagram at the Sal Greco, also at the Sal Greco Show, and check out the TikTok at the Sal Greco Show, where you definitely do not put in hashtag Owen Schroyer.
Right. And
on YouTube at the Sal Greco Show segments, where you'll see a lot of the segments and videos that come out from the show. So, thanks for having me on, Jason. It's good to discuss things. No, we're not domestic terrorists for questioning things, but apparently there's some mentally deranged people we may be. So
exactly.
What can we
Well, Sal, it's great to see you. Thanks again. And don't forget, everyone, you can support Crowdsource the Truth by going to crowdsourcethetruth.substack.com or subscribestar.com or patreon.com/crowdsource the truth. You can also subscribe on X at JG_CSTT. Sal, I'll see you soon. Have a great weekend.
Thank you, Jason. Enjoy walking that High Line over there. I know that's a great walk and talk.
Absolutely. Thanks.